What is going on, you two people? Sports Cards Anonymous is away, and we're all coming for his territory. Just kidding, Dakota. Be excited to have you back on the Friday nights. I figured since Dakota wasn't going live tonight, I would go live for just a little bit. Don't have a ton of time. I have a hard out at 8:30, so we will not be going past 8:30. I could guarantee you that. So at most, this is going to go about an hour and a half or so, give or take. We'll see what topics we can get into on this Friday night. I got a cup of wine, not a glass, a cup to have a little Friday night drink in the spirit of SCA. So yeah, hang out for a little bit, chit chat, whatever chat wants to percolate on. I'll be going live again next week, next Wednesday, or this coming Wednesday now, the 18th. Is the 2-year anniversary of the channel. So we'll be doing a live stream Wednesday night for that. I'll probably go for a while that night. I'm going to see if I can wrangle in some special guests for that one to pop on and hang out for a little bit and chit chat for a while. What's up, Highlight? What's up, Perk? What is up, Ryan Smith? What's up, Will? Yeah, yeah. I dyed my hair. It looks a little bit different. What did you think the biggest takeaway was from your interview with Peter from SGC? Boy, probably the AI talk. Where he kind of said that no AI that he has seen is near ready, except for the one that he just saw. But just generally speaking, that the AI stuff really wasn't quite there yet. And then also, not necessarily a takeaway, but confirmation on what he talked about in regards to. He didn't give a specific number, which I'm not surprised on. Just how quickly they can grade an ultra modern card, especially ones that they see all the time, which was confirmation to kind of what we all had speculated on not too terribly long ago. What's up, Joel? But the Peter chat was great. We talked an hour and 20 minutes on camera. And then after we wrapped, we ended up talking for another hour and a half, probably at least an hour. I don't remember exactly how long we chatted for, but at minimum, it was another hour after the camera went off. That could have easily been a 3-hour interview if I wanted it to be. And he gave me no time when Peter came on. They gave me no time constraints and no restrictions on questions. So when they had reached out to me to set that up, so I could have went as long as I wanted to. I still wanted to be respectful of his time, and anything more than an hour, really, there's like diminishing returns because as much as I want to get questions asked, it's like how many people are actually going to. And I know a lot of people did sit through the whole thing, but that's a big ask in 2022 to get someone to sit through an hour and 20-minute long YouTube video. So there was a few things that I wanted to ask on camera and I forgot just because stuff got away from me or we got carried off on a side tangent. I had a couple bullet points that I wanted to ask going into that. That was about it. It was very much, I don't want to say off the cuff, but a pretty loosey goosey format of more just conversation style. So Joel thinking about CSG as a play, tough decision. I gotta wait to see what their new slabs comp out like, and I don't know that we've really seen that yet. Think there's any chance another grading company overtakes PSA for top spot? Possibly, but not for a while. That's going to take a lot of time. It's going to take a lot of time. Will, I've said it before, AI is hard in images. They've been talking it up, medical imaging for 20 years now. Still a joke as far as actual implementation. I agree, Will. The AI term is very, excuse me, loosely thrown around. So Charles Fuchs in the house. What's up, Charles? Charles, are you confirmed for the national yet? Or are you going to wait and try to freeload it on Steve's trip? What's up, Rav? Oh, I want to see you in full effect in Atlantic City. Found SGC's grading much more in line with, or CSG's, sorry, grading. Too many three-letter acronyms. Much more in line with SGC's for $10 less per card. I do like. I mean, I like CSG slabs better, and we Peter and I got into that a little bit during the interview about just the not the slab to me is still what was holding them back. Oh, nice. The 89 Marvel Spidey got an SG. Nice. Nice, nice, nice. I have one more left. I still have one more. I should crack it and maybe send it PSA's way, but I just really like the way it looks in the SGC holder. And this is pretty off-centered top to bottom, too. So that's solid. Hey, what's up, Kent? Bush Leaguer, what's going on? Throw 1 or 5 back for Dakota tonight. Yeah. I don't have the time to throw 5 back. Like I said, if anyone missed it, I got about an hour and a half. I have a hard out at 8:30. So 2 card shows this weekend. The Hartville show is tomorrow, and then there is a show in Cleveland on Sunday, the Strongsville show. I'm attempting to go to both. I normally go to both. I'm planning on going to both. Might be looking at some houses this weekend, so I don't know if that'll throw any wrenches into any plans, but yeah, I'm sure a lot of people would, Perk. But YouTube analytics showed on that one, the average watch time was 24 minutes on that video, I think, give or take. Hey, Loco. It was more. Oh, actually, I want to talk about this. I'm glad you brought this up, Loco. This reminded me of something. Basically speaking, very macro level-ish of the. I think I compared 6 comics versus 6 sports cards. Comics had gone down slightly less, basically held slightly better. Sports cards went down slightly more. I didn't put in like specific numbers, just percentage-wise off individual cards, but it was actually pretty close. Let me get caught up on chat real quick, and then I have something to pontificate on. Yeah, you better get National locked in. Hey, Steven, what's up? Are you going to the 2 shows this weekend? I don't know, Matthew, in regards to what comic book to buy next. I'm kind of waiting to see if something can fall into my lap, maybe. I'm in the position now where I could buy like 3 mid-sized things, or I am in the range that I could knock something big off the list. So it just kind of depends on how I want to spend my money. And right now, I am being extremely picky in regards to how I spend my money. Looking at some houses, YouTube and Card Hustle must be going well. No, that's my wife has a very good job, so she's carrying the load on that one. Yeah, we have shows like crazy. Stephen Pitts in chat here. He's local to me, sets up. We've done a lot of deals. He's actually who I got the Soto Bowman's best off of. He can attest to it in chat. We have shows like crazy in Ohio. We get anywhere from 3 to like 8 shows a month within an hour or 2 driving difference. I do not want to live in Florida. I don't mind visiting Florida. I do not want to live there. I don't know how long. I haven't sent anything Express in quite a while. I haven't sent anything to Express since before the Atlanta show. Surprised PWCC doesn't try to run something. My other PSA economy order is running slow. The grading report, we 100% talked about that. That is 1000% in that interview. So I don't remember where it's at in the interview. I would love to give you a timestamp. I do not remember, but we definitely 100% talked about that. I buy from A1 Comics all the time. I love their live claim sales. This is what I caught up on chat. So before I get back up again, this is what I wanted to pontificate on. I was considering, and I would probably, I don't know, we'll talk about this. I was considering doing I don't know what you want to call it, a fake money challenge. I don't know. essentially what I wanted to do was do a video series, and then we can workshop this right now, where I take, and this is, I'm going to say, we're just call it monopoly money, not real money. Like say $20,000, and I track 20K worth of sports cards purchased on X date, June 1st, whatever we end up doing, and then do the same thing, 20K, 50K, whatever, on the comic book side, and like check in once a month to see how one side does versus the other. I had this idea when I was making that video that posted this morning. So, is there any interest in that? Does that sound enticing? What I was thinking about doing was putting the list together during a live stream. Like, just go live, say, okay, chat, we got 50K to play with. Let's go buy 50K worth of sports cards. And once again, when I say buy, this is just all, on paper. This isn't not actually going to go buy this stuff, but just to track, one side versus the other. And then once a month, maybe twice a month, whatever, just pop on and do a little video and say, hey, the sports card portfolio is here. The comic book portfolio is here. And I would want to mix and match it with, like, I would want more, probably on the sports card side, more vintage stable stuff with a little bit of ultra modern sprinkled in, and then same thing on the comic book side. Does that sound intriguing, or does that sound idiotic? If you're going to try to make money, is the value difference between SGC and PSA worth it just to save money on grading the card? It completely depends on the card highlight. Completely depends on the card. You just got to run the numbers to see if, does a PSA 10 outweigh an SGC 10 by that much, and then look at like the 9.5s and the 9s and whatnot as well. But that's the best way to do it. Every card is going to be different. There are some cards that it's the price difference isn't going to be enough that it makes sense to just send it to SGC. There's going to be some cards where it makes sense to send it to PSA. It's really a case by case basis. There is no blanket answer for this. I don't know if it'll be a challenge, Loco. Like, just more of like a let's just kind of see what happens type thing. I would worry about those being artificially low population because no one's been grading them. If that makes sense. Yeah, what Wilmette said. Make it a contest. Are people from chat going to be involved? I would build a list with chat, so I would take suggestions from chat on like what we would go shopping for, essentially. And once again, shopping in air quotes. What's up, Michael Ham? So I mean, it would be fun to make a competition out of it. The problem is just keeping track of that much stuff. You know what I mean? Um, that would just be a lot to do. Like if I just completely opened it up to like, hey, everyone in chat do this. That's a very manual process, and I wouldn't want to put that work on anybody, myself or a random viewer. Now, what would be interesting, because I did think about this, like go head to head against, like, wow, this would have been perfect for Dakota. Have Dakota pick 30K in sports cards and I pick 30K in comics, and see like which one outperforms each other over, a month by month basis or something like that. But maybe it's something I can run by him when he comes back from his sabbatical. So I like the idea of it being a contest. I just think that would be extremely, extremely difficult to manage. That would be my only concern there. Nice try, Bush League. What card got me into sports cards? So I was introduced to sports cards at a very, very young age. Back in the initial boom in the 90s junk wax era, one of my dad's best friends was an Indian season ticket holder and a big, big, big sports card guy. I mean, he had a room in his house full of sports cards, and he was hugely into them. Um, he anytime I would go over there, used to give me packs of cards, just like 90s junk wax stuff. And that's what initially got me. And then, like, when we would go to Indians games as a kid, I would always buy like the team sets. Like, they would sell like the Topps team sets with like Corey Schneider and Joe Carter and Julio Franco and all the other scrub Indians from the 80s. Um, those were like my introduction to sports cards back in the day. And then after that, I started going to the card shop and stuff. So I can't speak to any one particular card that locked its horns into me as a kid. It was more that. So, and then what got me back in 2018 was Baker Mayfield being drafted by the Browns. During Baker's rookie year, I said I wanted to get some cards of him. So I initially bought some cards of his, and then I bought some cards of his, and then I was like, this Luka guy's pretty good. Let me buy a base prism of his. And I got like a base Tatum and, a few other things. And I just really lightly toyed with it in 2018. Wish I would have bought more. And then it just kind of kept spiraling as things, progressed, basically. If you had a mid-grade X-Men 4, would you sell it right now or hold? I mean, what grade, Josh? Because I'm in the market for an X-Men 4. It's one of the things on my list. There's actually one ending tonight at auction, I think. Like a 4.0, I think. Maybe it ended already. Did it end already? No, it did not end already. I didn't like this particular issue, but yeah, there's a 4.0 ending tonight on auction. I am actually interested in a X-Men 4 First Appearance Scarlet Witch. It's been on my list for a while. One card doesn't make it as fun though, Kent. I want mix and match. That's the whole point. Swaggle House, Haas, Swags. What's up, Swags? I remember chasing 89 Griffey. I mean, the 89 Griffey was around when all that original story was happening. I've never done live auction selling on Whatnot. Swaggle House right here. He's done, I don't know if he's ever done Whatnot, but I know he's done claim sales on his channel, on his YouTube channel. I don't know that he's ever actually done Whatnot. Swags, you can correct me if I'm wrong in the chat there. Funway show should be fun. Biggest card that I regret selling. I don't regret it because it was the right call, but I'm going to rephrase it. I don't regret selling any card. I miss the Vlad Blue Refractor. I don't regret selling it. It was 1000% the right decision to sell that card at that time. But I do miss that card. I 1000% miss that card. It was gorgeous. I don't know if Trout peaked or not. He's having a hell of a season right now. I've not done Whatnot yet. Do you have any tips just for running a live sale in general, Swags? Like even just like a YouTube. I know claim sales a little different, but just any pro tips? I know you haven't done a ton of them, but like anything that like from the first couple that you've done that you're like, oh man, I wish I would have known about this. Un momento, por favor. I've never owned an 89 Griffey. I never got one when I was a kid when the card was hot. I was never able to track one down, and I've never owned one in current. I like Griffey. Favorite Marvel card set? I'm going to give you two. One is obvious. It's 90 MU. Love that set. And 92 X-Men, Jim Lee. Love 92 X-Men, Jim Lee. Swaggle says you need 3 people minimum to do it: 1 to watch chat, 2 to manage the wall, and 3 to order the piles and claims. That makes sense, especially for what you were doing. That's more for a claim sale, which is a little different than a live auction, but I could see how more than one person would make things easier. As in regards to the undervalued part of this, I am not sure at the moment because the Marvel values are bouncing around like crazy. Sold my Griffey between Edge of the Spider Verse 2 and Adam Blue Marvel. What's your pick? I like Edge of the Spider Verse 2. I'm a huge Spider Gwen fan, though, so I am 1,000% biased on that one. 1,000% biased on that one. Public service announcement: don't send SGC send in a PSA for crossover through $300 down the drain. Every card, min gem. Yeah, yeah. I mean, Joel, it's near impossible. Swaggle, if you want to pop on, actually, if you want to check your, I don't know if you can or not. No pressure. I'm not going to be going for that long, but I sent you an invite on IG if you want to swing in for a few minutes. If not, I completely get it. Yeah, don't do crossovers. It's near impossible to cross over in the case. Bad idea. Sorry, Joel. That sucks, but bad idea. It's very difficult to grade a card inside a case. That's the reason they won't. That it's near impossible to cross something. You can tell corners and edges and centering in the case, but it's next to impossible to identify surface issues inside the case. So you have to crack them if you want like a legit shot to cross. Got to crack them. I know it sucks, but you got to crack them. Or well, yeah, got to crack them. Crack them's by far and away the best. If you send them in the case, it'll never work. Yeah, I'm just a sucker for Spider Gwen. Anyone that watched channel for a while knows I'm a sucker for Spider Gwen. What's up, Best? What's up, Sam? Current PSA submission in QA1 took a month. I don't know why mine's going so slow. My last one here is just crawling. It was received 4/8, and it is still in grading, and it just went to grading like a week ago, maybe a little over a week ago. But I don't know what it is about that particular order, but it is sluggish. I talked about this earlier, Ash, but we could swing back to what was my biggest takeaway after that. Um, Biggest takeaway is Peter's just a really cool dude. Like I really enjoyed talking to him. Like I said, we talked about this at the top because someone asked a very similar question. This was just fine. You probably just weren't watching. It's all good. Um, we talked for over an hour and 20 minutes on camera, and then we talked over an hour off camera after the interview. We talked for another hour to maybe an hour and a half. I don't remember exactly, but it was a while. Um, we started recording at 6:30, and I don't think we finished until after 9. All good, Swaggle. So he's just a really cool dude to talk to. Yeah, I don't know why mine's lagging. It's just like 1090 Marvel MU cards. It's not anything crazy. Thanks, Canadian Sports Card Collector. How's eBay going to do the cards sent to them from eBay for authorization? They're just reviewing to make sure that the slab is a legitimate slab and that it's not cracked or tampered with and that it's a real case. That's all they're doing. Hey, Carlos, what's up? Carlos will be live in 30 minutes. When this stream ends, you're all going to watch Carlos's channel. That's how that's going to work. see if he has time. I'll send Carlos an invite if he wants to pop on real quick. Had 10 cards I was going to submit to PSA. Changed my mind and sent them to SGC after the interview. Still waiting on 100 cards from PSA from last February. Good luck, Chris. $30 a card by end of summer. I think we see $30 a card this year. I don't know if it'll be by end of summer or not. We'll just kind of have to see how things play out. Yeah, Kent pretty much nailed it. So typically the way it works, and once again, Swaggle's in chat, he could correct me if I'm wrong, but usually comics peak before the movie actually comes out. And I want absolutely no spoilers in chat about Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. I have seen it, but I don't know who has and who hasn't. But I don't know that movie is going to do much to boost her value. Worst case, it stays flat. Now, that's a monster key regardless. So, but like legit real talk, Josh, if you want to move that, reach out to me. I am not like super up on what a 5.0 is comping for. That might be a little bit more than I want to spend, but I am very interested in a X-Men 4 in a 3 to 5-ish grade. I've wanted that book forever just because it's like one of the biggest X-Men keys in my mind. First appearance of Scarlet Witch, first appearance of Quicksilver, second Magneto, first Toad, first Brotherhood. Iconic cover, in my opinion. I've always wanted that book. So legit, if you're thinking about moving it or at least on the fence, definitely either DM me on IG or reach out to me on Twitter, or my email address is on the YouTube channel. Take your pick. Hello, Steve. Pretty crazy to see a 27 CEO that's in the company. Yeah. I mean, he was telling me, I don't remember if we talked about this on the interview or not. Like, he just started there, doing like data entry stuff, I believe, or imaging or something, and just kind of rose his way up. I don't remember what his first job was, but he wasn't hired in at like super high level upper management. I think he kind of worked his way up the thing. Thank you. The best. Yeah, like I said, I mean, Peter's just one of those guys. It's just easy. There's just certain people that are easy to carry a conversation with, and he's 100% one of them. Carlos does go forever. And Carlos, I did send you, if you want to pop on, if you can't, it's cool. I tossed you one in Discord. Oh, nice, Joel. Ooh, I'm pumped for Game 7. Luca versus CP3. Tasty. Yeah, I don't know what the deal was. It just sat in research and ID forever. I don't think the Celtics have a chance against Giannis. All right, we got a quick little special guest. I know he has limited time because he has his own thing going fairly quickly.
How's it going?
It's the Great Canadian.
Oh yeah. I'm not sure that's a dubious distinction if there ever was one.
Yeah, Chad, if you ever wanted hockey talk, now's your chance.
I was gonna say, yeah. It's funny because I got pigeonholed into it. I'm more like, if my day-to-day collecting, it's more vintage baseball. That's a lot of what I do. I collect one hockey player that I've been collecting since the '90s, so that's the most of the focus. But they asked me about, like, oh yeah, who's playing today? It's like, unless it's Ovechkin, Crosby, or McDavid, I have no idea who the hell you're talking about.
Yeah. You're just from Canada, so you have to represent.
Well, that's the thing. Like, we've got hockey on, like, during the season. We've got it on like 7 channels. You can go between all these different games. You can catch game after game. It's good for that if you're into it. Hockey Night in Canada is the classic, so you can go on there. But when I grew up, I was watching it. Late '90s and early '90s, that '90s period, I got you. I can name the Dallas Star players on those teams for the mid '90s through the late '90s and early 2000s. I got you. After last 5 years or so, I got nothing.
So my only hockey experience is one, when I was in high school, one of my good friends, his parents had season tickets to the Penguins, and I grew up an hour from Pittsburgh and an hour from Cleveland, right smack dab in the middle.
Yep.
So on occasion, we would be lucky enough to get taken to a Penguins game, which that was when they were like the dominant force. Like, that was Lemieux, Yager, the whole 9 yards. So it was fun going to those games, and I like hockey in person quite a bit, actually.
In person, it's really, if you want to sell somebody on it, you take them to a live game.
Yeah,
That's a good
on
product.
TV, especially back then, this was like,
Yeah,
pre HD, like, you know what I
yeah,
mean? Like, it was a pretty brutal sport to watch on TV, in my
yeah.
opinion. And then I briefly dipped my toe in during was it the NBA lockout? I think it was the NBA lockout when they lost like a third of their season, and I just needed something to watch.
Yeah. It's
That
ironic
was
though.
it.
If it was ironic though, if you'd stuck with Pittsburgh once Crosby really got going, they won 3 cups with the Crosby Penguins. So he got his own run. They weren't like back to back, but I think they had 2 in a row, and then another one separate from that. But that's really good for him. Long term, like long term, he locked up his Hall of Fame candidacy. He's got the cups. He's gonna finish with really good stats. He was a
Yeah.
great player for a long time. He did become the next one, and he delivered for them. So
The other problem too was like back then, especially like pre Crosby with the Lemieux Yager days.
yeah,
As a high school kid, tickets were expensive.
yeah,
Like this is back in the 90s, and it was like it would be 70, 80, $90 for like meh seats
yeah.
for a hockey game. And
Yeah.
for comparison's sake, now they sucked. You could go to a Pirates game for like they would pay you money to come see a Pirates game.
They might pay you money to see one now.
The park's nice now, so they at
The,
least
the,
have
the
that
park, the
going
park,
for 'em.
the park. From everything I see, looks beautiful.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah.
I've been to probably 20 Major League Baseball stadiums over my lifetime.
All
It's the best. I put that one and Safeco too. I love Safeco Field.
Yeah, over here we are kind of on the opposite end of the spectrum. They have improved it, but the dome is basically the most generic, cookie cutter, boring atmosphere. I've only been to 300 games there, so I wouldn't know.
I actually went there. Funny story. This was back when the Indians were at the peak of their powers, in the second peak, not the '95 peak. Late '90s, early 2000s. So they were still in the later part of their run. And you couldn't get tickets to save your life. They played a spring training doubleheader at Toronto in early March. Why? I have no idea. And I remember me and my buddy got up at like 4 o'clock in the morning and drove to Toronto. It's about a 4-hour drive for me, I think, to Toronto.
I think
And
here's the
went
thing.
to a
My
spring
buddy,
training doubleheader.
so kind of a side story. My buddy, I've been to Cleveland once, and my buddy, for whatever, because he's deranged and demented, we were planning his bachelor party, and he said, all right, where do you want to go? And we had always joked about Cleveland because Cleveland was the butt of jokes back then too. But then he was like, oh, we should go to Cleveland. I'm like, okay, that was a joke. We were joking. And he goes, no, we should go. And he basically talked himself into it. And we're like, it's your bachelor party. You want to go to Cleveland, Ohio? Fair enough. So I visited Canton. It was nice.
Oh, there you go.
Microbrews. Like, look, no complaints. I'm not like, the
How long
jokes
ago
will
was
still
this?
happen. The jokes will still happen, but we had a good time. It was fun.
Yeah. How many years ago was this?
I want to say it was maybe like 5 or 6 years ago.
Oh,
give or
okay.
take.
Did you go
Not
to the
that long.
Hall of Fame and stuff too, or no?
Yeah, Canton. Yeah, we
Oh,
went to
okay,
Canton,
yeah.
and so I was like, since we're there, yeah, okay,
Yeah.
let's go to the Hall of Fame. Yeah,
Yeah.
great.
Football Hall of Fame is pretty good. I've been there quite a few times.
Yeah,
Um,
so it's pretty good.
yeah, I mean,
Like,
Cleveland
no
Stadium's not like Jacobs or whatever the hell it's called now, Progressive Field. Jacobs Field's pretty nice. It was very much modeled after Camden Yards
Mhm.
for the most part, which most stadiums in that era kind of were. I really like Camden too.
Yeah,
My favorite of the old school
we,
stadiums is Fenway. I like Fenway over Wrigley.
I agree, and that was, and we did get a chance to go to Cleveland baseball team game. So
yeah.
so we did a 10-1.
Yeah, the Ohio Cleveland sports team.
That's right.
Oh boy, yeah, Municipal Stadium was pretty brutal. I went to quite a few games at Municipal Stadium for sure. The original OG Cleveland's. Yeah, Jacobs Field in the '90s was lit. That is 100% for sure.
Yeah.
What's the? We've gotten a lot of questions in chat tonight about the SGC or SGC influencer. Freudian slip.
That
there.
is a Freudian slip that's slowly going through.
Wow. The SGC interview. Did you? I know that you talked about it in your recent video. Did you have any like hot takes coming out of that, or was it anything surprise you per se? Or
No, but I'll say what I've always said. I always try to be very neutral, because I do look at it from the collector perspective. So I try to be fair. One of my buddies, Brad, is a PSA bulk submitter. But we have him on to answer questions and give his process and everything. He's very transparent. Like, he'll be honest with folks as best he can be. But it's one of those things that it's a lot of fun to do the comparison of the company, the way the companies present themselves. And he agrees, and we all agree. Peter's done a great job presenting himself. He screwed up initially when he did that Cardboard Chronicles interview. That was a big misstep. But since then, they have learned. They have done a much better job of it. He's been a lot more careful. He's still very enthusiastic. People like him. I would say this: people like him. All
Hmm.
the other companies have this problem. PSA is kind of a monolith, and Beckett is a ghost town. There's a tumbleweed that rolls through. Nobody knows what the hell they're doing most of the time. But SGC has a really good front man. So it's one of those things. It's never because they don't like the guy and they're willing to give it a shot. But the resale value is always a thing. But the people that like him a lot, and they will be very loyal.
Yeah, the people that always talk about like, oh, when SGC or when PSA drops their prices, SGC is going out of business. And I'm like, I don't think you guys understand exactly how loyal of like they will be able to completely operate just based off of their loyal following. It might not be at the profit revenue that, the profit margins that they're making now, but they will be a company that exists for as long as they want to, as long as they keep their reputation clean, because they have a very, very loyal following.
Yeah, but the thing is that I think sometimes when folks throw out that specific take, they forget that SGC has been around since the late 90s.
Yeah. I mean, they're a
Like,
very different company now than what they
well,
were
no, for
back then.
100%. But I'm saying they have at least some cachet. They didn't just show up 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, they're
So,
not HGA.
yeah, so, exactly. But that's the thing is that's why when HGA had his moment in the sun, I was like, I don't understand why. If you don't like PSA, just use SGC. You don't like SGC, great. Then wait for Beckett to do something. Good luck with that. But then when CSG came in, it's like, okay, at least they have backing. Like you have now four options. You don't have to go PSA if you don't want to. I give you alternatives.
Yeah, I mean CSG is the new kid on the block, but they have Blackstone behind them. They come
Yes.
from a reputable with the comic book side of grading, along with a lot of other things. Plus, they hired a bunch of lead people from Beckett, so it's not like it's this literal fly by night company. That, you're not going to worry about sending your card. CSG is not going bankrupt anytime soon. Like you're not going to worry about sending your cards there and then just randomly disappearing one day when they close their doors down. Say what you will about CSG, but like they're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Even if they may not be the most competitive in the space, but they have the financial backing to kind of ride that rough start. You know,
I think there's a place in the hobby for a company that has deep enough pockets to hang in there that can offer that cheap option. There's a good possibility that CSG could very well hold, if they maintain their capacity and improve it just a little bit more, they could be like, okay, look, in the meantime, while you guys are figuring out that and the rest of that stuff, we'll give you a $10 or $15 grading. We'll give you a $10, $15 bulk rate. Here you go.
yeah,
Oh, yeah, okay. I could probably, because for some collectors, it'd be like, well, I just want it encapsulated. I'd like it authenticated. The new holder looks better. It's more neutral. So for my collection, you know what? 10 or 15 bucks. That's compelling if I'm not worried necessarily about the flip.
yeah. And they're making these side deals now. Like they have supplemental income coming in from eBay.
Yeah.
So like even if the card grading thing's not like churning out the profit for them, they have some supplemental income coming in from that side. The recent deal with PWCC, which was a little interesting, that one kind of caught me off guard just because of like the weird eBay angle on one side, and then there was just like a lot of weirdness with that one.
PWCC has never been involved in anything weird in the hobby. I don't know what you're getting at.
No, I'm talking about CSG, but yes.
No, no, but I stand by my exactly what I just said.
Yeah, your initial statement was not wrong. Did you? I don't remember. Did you do, or maybe you're going to talk about it tonight? Have you discussed the backyard breaks thing yet?
So yeah, well, I did the video on.
Oh, that's right. Yes, you did.
Yeah. So I did discuss that briefly. I think we'll touch on it a little bit tonight. I do have a little bit of an. It was weird because this time around, there's not a ton of news, really, realistically. But then over the course of the week, I did develop a little bit of an agenda. So I was like, oh, cool, because my buddy Jay is going to be on a little bit later tonight. The Marks card thing is more or less done, but there were a couple of things he wanted to bring in from with his expertise as a lawyer. He can actually tell us a couple of things more specific. And he actually has a bone to pick with the V-Friends thing, I think, that he mentioned to me. And I was like, okay, interesting. Tell me more. So I'm kind of curious what he has to say. He brought it to me, and I was like, okay, no, sure. You want to talk about it? I'm happy to hear it.
I'd be curious for his takes on the Marks card thing because, to my understanding, is it just got the case basically just got closed. I don't like a decision was never really made.
Yeah.
So I guess, I mean, he could correct me if I'm wrong. It sounds like potentially that could still come. Like precedent wasn't set one way or the other.
That's right. Yeah, that's why. But that's why I wanted to ask him because I was like, I understand the general concept here. Can you give me a couple of specifics? Like what exactly does this mean? What's still open? What's not available? What is a potential problem? What is not a potential problem? He'd be better versed to speak on that than I would.
Yeah, than us just sitting here guessing. Yeah, did you see? I have not talked about this yet. Have you seen the CSG Perfect 10 that they debuted this week?
I like the video. The video looks nice. It looks nice enough. Like the whole again, it goes back to it's a lot like CSG is an interesting piece for me because it's like I wouldn't have a problem sending them the right certain types of stuff. For like I said, you provide a decent bulk rate where you can send some lower end stuff. There's stuff in that player PC that I wouldn't mind having in a nice looking holder. And if you offer it to me at a reasonable rate, yeah, okay, I'll send you 20 or 30 or 50 of them. Yeah, that's great. because I'm not worried about flipping those. That's not a concern for me.
Yeah.
So it works. So that means like I could see them having business for that if they continue to have that affordable option. But you got to make sure your turnaround time's decent. You got to hold it and make sure it's solid.
Have you actually had one of their slabs in your hand yet? Either
Yeah,
old.
I've got. Well, the old ones I've got. Yeah, I
Well,
haven't
the
had.
slab's the same. They just changed the label.
Yeah, yeah.
I
So
do
they,
think, I mean, we've all discussed this. I mean, maybe you haven't, but I know me and Dakota have talked about this with me and others. I think slab wise, it's one of the best slabs, period, full
the
stop.
clarity, the clarity on the image, especially if you get certain type. What I did is I bought a couple of '90s Griffies, some refractors and stuff in that holder. Looks great. And one of the things I noted it on a video just for people that were talking about. Again, I give SGC credit where it deserves because they chatted about how they're doing all the scans and making them available for everybody. But I said, well, CSG technically has been doing that for a little bit too. But nobody talks about it. Nobody cares. If you do the CSG lookup, you can actually see a nice image scan of of a bunch of their cards. I don't know if they got them all, but they definitely had some, and I tried a couple, and they all work.
Yeah. Yeah. Their slab's fantastic. It's that thing is crystal clear.
Yeah.
It reminds me of almost going from like an HD TV or like a standard def signal to like an HD signal for some reason. Like it's the easiest thing I can comp it to. I don't know what it is about their slab, but it's just the thing's clear, super clear. And it feels very sturdy, like in hand.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like it feels like I could literally just chuck that thing against the wall and it's just not going to care.
Well, there are some folks who, when they get their grades back, they did that. So they did test it. They were very hard on the grading.
I saw, GemRate had a note on his monthly update that it looks like they may have laxed up with the switching grading scale. Their GemRate percentage jump, I forget the number, but their GemRate percentage had a pretty noticeable jump month over month.
Well, I wonder if it counts though. Do they count that they turned the 9.5s into 10s?
I don't know how all that works. That's the thing. I don't know how it works, but it wouldn't surprise me. You know what I mean? Like they took the feedback on, hey, your label sucks, change it.
Yeah, yeah.
And the other big criticism of them has been you grade too tough. It wouldn't surprise me if, hey, we're switching the grading scale. Hey guys, you could do, 55-45 centering is okay now, because they were pretty brutal on centering and some other stuff. So I wouldn't be surprised if during that grading scale change, they were also like, okay, let's take it back 10% or, whatever, to potentially loosen that up a little bit. Because that was the other huge criticism of them was how tough they were.
Yeah. Well, that's the problem you have when you have half grades. That's why I said for people don't have to like it. And I completely understand. Whenever they discuss this, like, oh, with PSA, they should do a 9.5. It's like, I'm like, absolutely not. And it's not even the branding thing. It's a simpler issue is that what is the difference between a 9 and a 10? In that gap in between. The gap between those two things is actually fairly small. And that's with PSA's own, their own setup, the way they put it on their site. I at least know what the criteria is. That means if I disagree with the criteria, I have something to argue. But if you try to put a 9.5, I would go, okay, so it fell between the 9 and the 10. I'm like, how? Because the centering on the two overlaps. So it's not a centering issue.
Yeah.
Is it a flaw issue? You can go above a 10. There is room to go above a 10. You could have perfect 50-50 centering on both sides. But here's your problem. Then you wreck all the pre-existing 10s that have ever happened. The problem is we started in 1991. You can't retcon 30 years and 30 million, 40 million, 50 million slabs. It's too late. A new person can start with that, not PSA. It's too late for them.
Yeah, I bet you a lot of companies are jealous that CSG was able to rip the Band-Aid and kind of almost start over again because they were so new. I wonder how many of the other ones would have been like, man, it would sure be nice to throw out this grading scale and this slab or this thing or the other thing or whatever and start from scratch. And how many of them, like to your point, like PSA can never change their grading scale ever. I don't think there's no way they could ever do it.
Yeah, there's too many slabs already out there. It's already been established. And SGC, to a lesser degree, is still saddled a little bit with the legacy of the 100-point scale that people didn't understand back in the day. But the good news for them is that when they say they have like the pristine 10, I forget what they call it. It's the gold label 10.
Whatever. It's pristine, I think, but it's a gold label.
But back then they had a 100. And the 98 was considered the gem mint. So they had another slot available. So they didn't have to reinvent the wheel. All they had to do was like, okay, so our 10 is now the former 98 and our gold label is the former 100. We actually have a reference point we can pull back from. We didn't make up another level. We actually had it. It was available.
Yeah. And then, CSG basically just straight copied their grading scale. Like, internally, it might be a little bit different, but in regards to what numbers are printed on a piece of paper, it's identical. And it probably is, in all honesty, if you were creating your grading scale from the ground up, that's probably the best version to go with if you want accuracy. To Chat's point, people were talking about like they like to overuse the 9.5,
Mhm.
and to your point from earlier, what tell me what's wrong. I know that's something me and Peter talked about. Is like why don't we? I mean, I understand why we don't have grading notes yet, but like
Mhm.
at least for high dollar cards, I think grading notes from all the companies should be provided. If you're sending in a PSA Express order or Super Express at $300 per card, they should be able to attach a sticky note version of, hey, top left corner, little soft, crinkle on the back. What I mean, we're not looking for, I look at CGC comic book rating notes all the time. It's not like they're writing paragraphs in there.
Yeah. Well, I was joking mostly, but I was saying secretly I would love it if the only reason they're not doing graders notes is it turns out the graders are kind of jerks. They're like, oh, this card sucks. I hate this
Yeah.
guy. It's like 9.5. It's like the card's fine. It's like he's trash. 9.5.
Yeah. Really? More Mac Jones based Donruss guys? Come on.
It's like screw this. He sent me 30 of these. You're getting all 9.5s, my man. All 9.5s. It's like, and then Peter's like, you didn't have to write it down. Don't tell him that.
I just got a SGC 9.5 and cracked it, sent it to PSA and got an 8. Ouch.
Yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately, consistency. We'd love to have perfect consistency. When you've got human beings involved, it's always going to be a problem. And like I said, they don't stare at it very long, and a lot of the cards are not getting stared at. So if they catch something out of the glimmer of their eye on one specific angle that the light just happened to catch that day, you get nailed for it where the other person didn't see it. They're both looking at the same card.
Yeah. I think the way this ends up all flushing out, I think if the, depending on the downturn in the market, and when I say market, sports cards, just in general, the world,
Hmm.
if the sports card flipping thing can survive and goes forth to like the I mean, you always be able to like flip sports cards, but to the permanent, as long as you have like the Kenny Fornos is running out making vlogs and stuff
Hmm.
like that, I think PSA will be the flipper brand, SGC will be the collector brand, CSG will be the, to your point from earlier, the cheap, affordable guy that you just send a bunch of cards to if you want them slabbed. And then to me, the question is I really don't know. And I don't, I mean, we joke about them all the time. I don't know where Beckett's place is in all this, other than the fact that their name's Beckett.
They had it and they gave it up. There were a lot of really high end premiered cards, especially basketball wise. They got into those holders, and they used to be the holder of choice for folks for the thicker slabs for the game used memorabilia stuff and some of that because the holder was a tank, so it was good for that. But they dropped the ball and they just kept dropping it. They never picked it up, so
Yeah.
they gave up the spot.
Yeah. I really don't know where they go from here unless they're primed for a buyout. You know what I mean? Like maybe someone swoops in and says we want the name, but I just don't know. Or if they just say, okay, we're content with making whatever money we can based off the name. We don't care that we're not getting a ton of cards. We're a small profitable business.
Mhm.
We'll just keep doing our thing, and whatever happens, happens.
I think it's fair. Yeah, it's one of those things. I like John's question. I'm gonna drop off and
Yeah,
finish
you got to run
getting
to
back.
your own show, and I'm gonna wrap here in about 20 minutes, so I'll send some traffic your way.
Sounds good. Take it easy. But please take your time and explain the Baker Mayfield situation because we all want to enjoy it vicariously through you until it's fully resolved. Give John his full value on his $5, please.
Yeah,
On behalf of everybody. Take it easy. Thanks.
later, Cross. Mayfield situation. Is it the 20 million? Yes, it's 100% the $20 million price tag. If it wasn't for that, he would already be moved. If they cut him tomorrow, he would probably be signed right away. I don't know where to. I think there's a number of teams that would sign him, but a lot of teams would line up to get him at the NFL minimum. I think, and coming from me, most people won't take this seriously. Um, I think the hate on Mayfield has gone too far in the grand scheme of things. Like he is an above average NFL quarterback, and the market and the people are treating him like he's literally the worst quarterback in the league. Let's not forget he played last year with one arm. Mm-mm. I missed the Sam. I don't know who the Sam is. Sorry, I got a little bit behind on chat. Yeah, Beckett was a standard back in the day. I'll still buy. To Beavis's point here, purposely bought his 84. I'll still buy BGS cards all day long. I have no problem buying BGS cards. 1,000% um, purchase BGS cards. Sorry, I'm still catching up on chat from when Carlos was on. BGS is a ghost town. It 100% is. I think Seattle is the most likely choice on a trade unless someone gets hurt or something happens to a quarterback leading up to the season. They'll run it up to the very last minute. They won't cut him until they absolutely have to. That is the best thing about BGS is the fact that the inside card isn't in her sleeve. I do agree with that. I don't like the silver labels. That's my only gripe with them. Like my LeBron refractor is an 8.5 and it has the silver label, and I hate that label. I wish they didn't do that. I wish it was more uniform. For people to ask, any card exchange has a public spreadsheet of PSA submissions 5 to 7 weeks for economy consistently. That's about what I've been seeing up until this last order, and then regular is less than 2 weeks. Perfect. Yeah, I mean they were literally they choked. Oh god, that Kansas City game. Don't remind me, Sam. Sending me down a bad place. Yeah, they were. Yes, they were extremely close to beating the Chiefs in that game 2 years ago. Is there slab competition for comics? Not really. CBCS is the number 2. They're actually a Beckett company. But CGC has a stranglehold on it. There's some other small time ones out there, EGS grading, a couple other ones, but they are not taken seriously at all. CBCS is much like you could compare them to SGC to PSA. CGC is the PSA. CBCS is the SGC. There's a pretty decent price gap there on a CBCS book to a CGC book in the same grade. Yeah, very little. I mean, CBCS is a player, but they don't resell nowhere near as well. What's up, Matthew? Probably going to go for about another 15 minutes, give or take. Huge brown backers, nice. Wait, you talking? Are you calling me that, or are you calling yourself that? 420. Sorry, I guess I should be clear there. Yeah, don't remind me, Sam. Stop. You're killing me, buddy. You're just killing me right now. Thanks, Beavis. It was fun. That was like my first I don't want to say legit interview because I've had like guests on the channel as interviewed before, but I've never had every guest that I've had on the channel at this point that I've done interviews with have been other content creators, not like an actual CEO of a company. So that was like my first legit, like, oh, I have like an actual real, not saying that my other guests haven't been real guests, but you know what I mean? Like it's different talking to a fellow content creator than it is talking to like, oh, you are the CEO of a grading company. It's a little different perspective there. How do I read a slab comic if I own it? This is how I read mine right here. Tablet, Marvel Unlimited app. Read them anytime that I want. Four six and QA2C. Mine's 4.8 and it's still in grading. Something must have just got caught up with my order. I just don't know why. No hanky panky cards. Sorry, buddy. Hey, buddy, what's going on? I haven't seen you in a live stream for a while. Though I have only live streamed like twice in the last month. There are many comic. Yeah, there are. There's a segment that definitely does not like slabbing books for sure. Oh, West Palm Beach Brown. There we go. I don't think Tyler would have ever came on my show. I was pretty early on came around to anti-HGA. There was a hot minute I wanted to try them, and then I kind of saw through their stuff. Planning to pump some Baker cards. Um, it's always weird to me when yes, and I think he does legit watch some of my stuff. Like I don't think that was just him blowing smoke. Um, it is always baffling to me because I've heard from, for example, eBay comments on a lot of my videos. Like whenever I do an eBay video for the last probably 3 to 4 months, if I do anything about like shillbit it, like when I did like the eBay please fix these things videos at the beginning of the year, anytime I talk about Vault or the auth program or any of that stuff, like the eBay official account comments on those videos. And I've actually DM'd back and forth with eBay on IG. They've reached out to me about some stuff. And it's weird. I don't really think about it, but like there is probably someone at every one of these major companies that sits down and like part of their job each week is probably to watch all us idiots, myself, Steve, PFD, Dakota, all of us, like that just type in a search and then watch every video that every content creator puts out about their company in a given week or mentions them. And I could not imagine having to do that. But it does always weird me out to think that, you know, just, legitimately, if I complain about something at a company that like that actually potentially reaches someone's ears, it's a weird vibe feeling thing that I don't always quite wrap my head around. I have not been to a Comic Con before. I am actually considering, and I think Kent Marvel Guy 239. I don't know if you're going to this or not. The Charlotte thing at the end of June, Hero Con, I think it is. In Charlotte at the end of June, I am slightly looking at that as a potential for my first Comic Con. I've heard that that's a pretty solid one. John Williams pays $5 to pimp the Bills. He loves the Bills. He loves Josh Allen. They are definitely a Super Bowl favorite, and he is really good. The AFC is just freaking loaded. Within the next 5 years, what's the cheapest PSA we'll get? I think you will have the opportunity to grade cards at PSA for $10 under certain stipulations. So like a set builder or something like that. Is that an economy order or like an old bulk order? Because if it's an old bulk order, that makes sense. Next show for me, I have 2 local shows this weekend. My next big show is the Midwest Monster in June in Indianapolis. I am planning on attending. Bucks. I'm not betting against Giannis. That dude's a freaking freak of nature. What's the score of that game right now? Basically tied. 2017. Oh, cracking H2. Yeah, I mean that makes sense. Mm. Dallas flights are too expensive, man. I'm not too far from West Akron. I wanted to go to the Dallas Card Show next weekend. Flights are literally $1,000. Yeah, I'm strongly considering heading up to that show. I think Spidey Jew and Sketch Card are going to that show. I am not putting on a costume. Thanks again, John. I know you love Josh Allen. Yeah, I think Secret Wars is where a lot of the Marvel stuff's leading to. Most likely future Hall of Famer from the 2021 quarterback class, Zach Wilson. Yeah, I actually got to wrap. I'm only going for about another 10 minutes. And then I got to go. Oh yeah, Spidey Hits. I forgot he rebranded. Ruin. Didn't the Russo brothers do like Winter Soldier and stuff? I'm not taking the bus to Dallas. I think Zach Wilson's sneaky, man. I really do. My last PSA order was pretty much on point. There was my last order that I got back was a 20 card order. There was one card I didn't necessarily understand, and it was it's actually sitting right here, the Wolverine PSA 7. This was the only one that baffled me. Everything else, the other 19 cards in my order seemed perfectly fine. That was the one that baffled me. I don't know that the 2021 class is that good. So if you're going to make me choose someone from the 2021 class, I do not. Yeah. I don't understand them ruining Marvel movies. Infinity War and Endgame were really good. Thank you, sir. Ah, okay. Gotcha. Yeah, I enjoy the MCU stuff. I mean, I like real movies too, but I can like both. I don't know that a Wolverine base card from '92 Jim Lee is worth cracking. I'll just leave it as is.
I didn't get that. Could you try again?
Oh, Corey, Siri didn't get that. Siri likes to act up. Siri, you guys don't know it. You guys and girls don't know it. Siri makes a lot of guest appearances in videos that you guys never hear that I have to edit out. Martin Scorsese in chat. Ooh, shots fired. Shots fired. That's a good one, Jay. That's pretty strong, Jay. Not gonna lie. That's really good. What was once again, no spoilers. Chat, any thoughts on the new Doctor Strange movie if you've seen it? I give it like a solid B plus. B. I'll give it a B. I'll give it a straight B. Once again, no spoilers. Siri agrees with me, cracking a resub. Yeah, I gave I did not do a formal review on it. I actually did a video on Spider-Man into the or Spider-Man No Way Home. I did not do a video on Doctor Strange. It was fine. It was a perfectly fine Marvel movie. I have no serious issues with it. Swaggle says 6 out of 10. I'd probably be at like 7.5 out of 10. F, there was no Toby. I feel like calling it a horror movie is a stretch. I understand why, but Doctor Strange was really jerked around with the scheduling stuff too. That movie got screwed from cancellations and reshoots and all sorts of nonsense. But yeah, I give Doctor Strange a solid B. I'm excited for Thor: Love and Thunder. American Chavez was cool. Cool character. Did not see Morbius, so yes. I've heard nothing but bad things about Morbius, so I skipped it. I'll wait for it to come out on streaming. I wanted Morbius to be good. I really did. I was intrigued by like the trailers and stuff, but I'm Just pulling something up on the other screen real quick here. It was fine. Didn't leave me with that funny feeling. Are you talking about Morbius or Scarlet Witch, Joe? Yeah. I am excited for the new Game of Thrones. I don't think I've ever really talked about it on the channel before. I love Game of Thrones. I've read all 5 books. Love the TV series up until the last season, just like everybody else. There were some parts of the last season that were good, some moments, some individual scenes that were really strong, but generally speaking, last season sucked. That being said, I am ready to go back to Westeros. I have no problems hanging out there. Not really. I mean, not beyond what I've already discussed on previous videos. I am intrigued by the new label. I'd like to see one in person. I haven't seen one in person yet. But their slabs are the best, in my opinion. Just if you're just talking literally slab in hand, because that hasn't changed. Their slab's the same. Their slab is by far and away the best. It's not even close. Their slab feels fantastic and looks fantastic. Yeah, the last season of Game of Thrones was rough. Oh, I mean, highly recommend. It doesn't end well. I mean, but the first 6.5 seasons, really strong. Season 7's not terrible. It's not great. And then once again, parts of season 8 are really good, and then parts are really, really bad. There is a mid-season battle in season 8. Up until that point, it's pretty strong. And then right after that, it goes downhill fast. But I really enjoy Game of Thrones. I always mean to look for some actor auto stuff on Game of Thrones, and I always forget. Like I would like a nice Jamie Lannister or something, or even maybe like a Macy Williams for Arya. Yeah, I'd always wanted to watch or read Game of Thrones because I haven't really read a lot, but on occasion I go into phases where I just want to sit back with the Kindle and read. And I started reading the books right when season 1 came out, so I was actually ahead in the books to where the TV show was, and then obviously I think I finished all 5 books before the second season came out, but that was my introduction to um, Game of Thrones. I have a lot of Walking Dead trade paperbacks. I never bought individual issues, but I have a lot of the like collected. It's like 12 books, 10 books in a single softback trade paperback. I have a lot of those. I think I have all the way up until Hilltop, maybe. Right around, I mean, spoilers for Walking Dead for a show that was on 5 years ago. I think I stayed with the comic books right past where Glenn died. And then that was it. And that wasn't necessarily, I got tired of it. It had nothing to do with that particular character dying. I liked parts of season 7. Other parts of season 7 were pretty bad. I have not watched Halo. I don't have a subscription to that. It was that Paramount, right? I've heard really good things about the new Star Wars. I'm sorry, not Star Wars. The new Star Trek show, I've heard is excellent. But once again, I don't have a subscription to Paramount Plus, so I'm gonna wait. I think until issue 1, Walking Dead is worth a ton, especially in a 9.8. I'll remember what I was talking about. Wow, that just poof. That just left my head. Joe Exotic Comics. No, absolutely not. Because it's one of the best shows. Season 1 through 6 is some of the best television ever made, and it's not even really that close. It's 1,000,000,000% worth watching, even though that you know that it flames. That show's absolutely fantastic. Especially the first 6 seasons. No, I'm not talking about Picard. I'm talking about the other one. Star Trek Beyond, I think, or whatever it is. The one with Pike. Pike's the captain, and it's got like a young Spock and stuff in it. I've heard that show is excellent, like really, really, really good. All right, boys and girls, we are going to wrap. Smash the like button if you haven't. I don't think I've said it once this entire stream. There's 73 in here. Give it a little tap, tap, taparoo. Notification bells and all that stuff. So, what I want you guys and girls to go do, Carlos, who was just on not that long ago, is streaming right now. He streams from 8 o'clock on. I'm going to post the link to his live stream. It is right there. So I want you guys and girls, if you still want to watch some sports cards content, he has a bunch of different guests. They talk about all sorts of nonsense. Go over, check out Carlos's live stream. Yeah, Star Trek Beyond. Yes. I've heard excellent things about Beyond. I have not watched an episode of it yet. So we're going to wrap up here. Like I said, just quick live stream. Shout out to Dakota. It's filling in for Friday night. I may go live next Friday too. I don't know yet. If I do, it'll be later, but I will be able to go a lot long. I'll be able to do like a normal, like a couple hour thing potentially. Actually, I probably won't go live next Friday. I am going live next Wednesday. This coming Wednesday. This coming Wednesday, 2-year birthday for the channel. So we will be live on Wednesday night, I think around 7:30 Eastern time. Not sure how late we'll go. Probably at least a couple hours. I'm going to send the link out to a bunch of different people to see if I can get some guests to pop on. So, or yeah, Strange New Worlds. That one, not Beyond. Strange New Worlds. I've heard that is very good. So once again, there's the link to Carlos's chat. I want you guys to all jump over there, say hi to Carlos for me, and we will catch you guys and girls on the next one. Peace. Everybody have a great weekend. I am headed to Hartville tomorrow. Bye.